Thursday, and I have not done one of these in a long time, not for any lack of having material or any particular reason other than I mean to do it, and I sit down to do it, and then I get sidetracked, and I forget to come back to it, and then next thing I know it's Friday, and I'm like, oh shit, I missed it. Have to wait till next week, even though there's no rule saying I can't post one of these on a different day of the week, but Throwback Thursday, doing another remembering forgotten memories video. Even though this one is kind of a technicality to even call it that, because I didn't 100% forget it. And if you clicked on this, you obviously saw in the title, we're gonna be talking about Neopets. Yeah, and you guys are thinking, Jen, you definitely have not forgotten about Neopets. How can you even do this? Like I said, on a technicality, because I go through periods where I'll play it obsessively and then I'll forget about it for months on end, that it's even a thing that exists until somebody mentions it or something reminds me of it, and I'm like, oh yeah, I should log into that. See how my stocks are doing. So anyway, I realized I talked about some of this in like the Club Penguin video, but for those who didn't watch that, I'm just gonna go ahead and rehash some of that same stuff, but I'm also gonna expand on it. So, goodness, Neopets. That site has been around for a long ass time. I forget what year for certain it started. I want to say it was like 1999 or 2000, but it was definitely right around there. And I feel like I have actually been on it since literally year one. If it wasn't year one, then it was the second year, but it was right from the start. I still technically have access to my original account, so I can back this claim up with the age on the account, just that's not the one I typically play on. Mostly because you can't, like, well, I didn't want to relinquish the pets on that one to get new ones, but I also wanted new ones, so I started another account just to have new pets in addition to the old pets without giving those. I don't know. It's a long, involved thing, but regardless, my eldest account on there, Neo85219, yeah, you can go back and see it's like practically 20 fucking years old or something. The newer one on there, I want to say it's Jen Maka. If I remember right, I have to go log in to see the screen name on that one. I had quite a few over the years, but yeah, that one, it's pretty old too. It's not as old, but it's still pretty old. But it's cringy as fuck, and I never updated the profiles of either one, and I don't think I'm ever going to. So one of them still says I'm 19 on it, because that's the last time it was updated. The other one, I don't even dare look at, but regardless, so, how did I find out about it in the first place? As with most things, my frickin' cousin Brittany was hip to this before I was. As with just about anything cool, she got to it first. I don't know where she learned of it, but, like, we used to talk on the phone every frickin' day, because I was the lonely kid with no friends at school, but my best friend was my cousin, so whatever, didn't care, because I had her. So we would talk on the phone every fucking day after school, or if it was a weekend, we would just talk basically all day on the phone. Even if we had, like, nothing to talk about, we would just, like, go about our business and just have the phone on to idly chit-chat. I don't know, it was weird as fuck. But, yeah, this was, I believe, a pre-Sims world, but we'd had creatures, though, which you guys know how I've felt and continue to feel about creatures, but, yeah, that was kind of the predecessor to The Sims for me. There was also the cats and dogs games, not the current iterations of those, no, I mean the PF Magic Days ones, but that's a whole other story for a whole other day. But because of those games, I think that could be why my cousin found it, because it was basically another virtual pet simulator type of a deal, just not in real time. It was on a website, which was like cutting edge stuff. It's like, whoa, we can play it online and with each other. That's awesome. Oh my gosh, sign me up. So she literally made the account for me. That's why the screen name was so freaking unoriginal. I didn't get to pick it, but it doesn't matter. And I think she made my first pet for me. I think I, like, got rid of it because it had a stupid name. So I made Linda McCartney the Uni, which now that I have a niece who is obsessed with unicorns, I'm like, damn, if I still had that friggin' Neopet, she would be so proud. But, oh my gosh, like, I think it was even blue and everything, but I had that. I had John Lennon the Bat-Eek, which, yeah, back in the days before they were cat-cheeks, they used to be called Bat-Eeks, and I guess they decided that was too controversial, so they made them not be thieves anymore, and took off their little masks and turned them into glasses, which still worked for John, so I didn't bother changing the name or anything. I had, who else did I have? There was McCartney, I think it was a walkie, and I actually managed to recover that either recovered it or I made another one with the same idea of the screen name and did something differently so I could still use it. But I had that. And I think I had, oh shit, what was the monkey one called? Well, you know what I'm talking about on there, but I think I named it after Pete Townsend for some fucking reason. I don't know why. I don't even know why. But, yeah, I was on there when they still had the 2 retired breeds on there. The Bruce, which they've changed into looking like a bird thing now, but back when it still looked like Bruce Forsyth was, oh, now that's relevant because he just died, but, yeah, it used to look like him. Or actually, no, they changed the Bruce into a penguin because they look like little tuxedos. So, okay, so there was that. Yeah, wait, was it the Jabber or the Walkie? It's like Jabberwocky. I think that's the bird one. Then what the fuck was McCartney? McCartney was the cat-looking one. I don't know. I don't remember all the breeds off the top of my head, but on my other account I had like a Roger Daltrey one that was like the dog looking thing, because in its original version it kind of had a Roger, something about it made me think of Roger, I don't even know. I had a Keith Moon one, I had a John Entwistle one, I got rid of those two. I think I got rid of the Townsend one too. I think the only one I still have out of those is the Daltrey one. I don't know if I ever made any monkeys ones, but I ended up making, I think the newest one I ever made was Sally Bowles, what was this? The one that kind of looks, not like a squirrel, because that's like an ousel. Not that one. The other one, the kind of chipmunky looking one. It's that. Because in its form, it kind of has Liza Minnelli-esque eyes, and it made me think of her, so I named it Sally Bowles, and then I used the baby paintbrush on it, and regretted everything, but oh well. But, again, getting ahead of myself here, so, had this thing on this site back in the days of dial-up, mind you, and would just spend hours and hours on there just buying random shit from the shops and actually using the items on the pets because I was so convinced that if I didn't take care of them, they would die. Yeah, many of them that I still have in my accounts to this day haven't been fed in literally years. It says dying, but yeah, they don't ever die on there, so it's like you're kind of just wasting items and Neopoints to actually feed them. So, I mean, if I'm feeling guilty, I'll feed them just so they're not sad, but, yeah, that. But back in the day, I used to actually every single day do this and would play the games endlessly and couldn't figure out how people got ahead. And then I learned about the beauty of the shops and stocking the shops and competitive pricing, and I feel like a lot of what I learned about business actually came from friggin' Neopets in the buy low, sell high type mentality, but yeah, I would sit there on the fucking Shop Wizard, just refresh, until I would find a good deal on something, snag it low, and resell it for more than I bought it for, but still lower than the next lowest price. It just, so many hours a day were wasted on this. Can I even say that I was little? No! I was in fucking high school playing this, and I was enamored by it. Oh my god, it's kind of cringy. And there was even like that 8.5 month span where I had no internet, and yet when I would sneak around to get on the internet at the library and at friends' houses, aside from my email, what was the first thing I'd hit up? Fucking Neopets, because I have no willpower. And it wasn't until the famous pen incident, which I will do a storytime video on that sometime too. But it wasn't until that my dad started letting me use it again. It was shortly after that he gave my internet back, but even on his computer, I was sitting there on friggin' Neopets of all things. And just, that was like my big draw, apart from the games, was the shops and just stalking them. So I guess it prepped me for real life in running an online shop of my own, I guess, even though it's not a reselling type thing as an Etsy shop is totally different. But I don't know. I feel like there are certain lessons that were learned from Neopets in terms of business where it applies, but it took me until I was older to realize how the stock thing worked. Actually, the stocks function is still my main draw of why I continue to come back to it even this many years later. In just that whole mentality of buy low, sell high, and just see how much I can get. Like, at this point in my Neopian bank account, there's like this shy of 4 million in it. There was a point where I had over 20 million Neo points in there, and I gave them to my cousin who was little, and I figured, I'm so old, I don't need to keep playing Neopets, because it was like in one of the periods where I hadn't touched it for the longest time, and I was like, dude, she's super into it. I should just give them to her so they could go to good use. And it, like, made her frigging year, basically, that I just bestowed this on her, and, like, my entire inventory, the storage box, everything, just bequeathed it all to her. She's just like, oh my god, thank you. Oh my god, I can't believe this. I didn't think I'd ever have this much ever on this website. Yeah, and then she ditched it all for Club Penguin like 6 months later, and I was hella pissed because I have never had that many Neopets ever again. Oh my god, so many of those paintbrushes I gave her, never had again. Just, that is neither here nor there. I suppose if I really worked at it, I could. I just don't care that much anymore, so. But, I don't know. Like, every year I continue to come back for the advent calendar without fail. And periodically, from time to time, if something reminds me of the website, I will come back to it, and I will, on the first day, play a bunch of games, since I'm not on burnout point yet. By the second day, I hit burnout, but the stock market, sorry, I have, like, an eyelash in my eye, and it's bugging me. I'm trying to figure out if there's, like, a loose one somewhere that's poking me. I don't know, so ignore me, but, yeah. I come back to the stock market every single time, and it's like just a quickie little thing. It only takes like maybe 2 minutes of your time tops to either get out the Neo points you need from your bank account to like buy the stocks, or to reinvest the stocks, or to find the stocks, and blah 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 blah. It doesn't take you long, but I've kind of become a master at it over time. Just, it's one of those things. But I don't know. It feels like that site has stagnated at this point in time, and has been for years, and that's probably why I don't play on it more than I do, and it makes me really sad because it was so much fun for so many years. I mean, that website got me through, let me see, it got me through Vicky, Jessie, Sarah, Megan. That got me through at least 4 relationships, of waiting for them to come home from school and or work. Oh, I guess even Jeanette. 5, okay, fine. 5, while I'd be waiting with, like, nothing to do and dying of anxiety, I would sit there and play fucking Neopets because I'm a friggin' loser. But, again, neither here nor there. And, I don't know, just for years, the go-to thing, if I'm, like, super anxious and have to just kill time on something. Sorry, my eye is really itchy. If I just have to sit there and kill time idly waiting for something, either open-ended that I don't know how long it will take, or I do know how long it'll take, it's just a long time and I have nothing to do. I don't know why. To this day, Neopets is still the default, I guess because I instilled it in myself from a young age, with those relationships of that being my, like, safe space, my safe haven to go back to emotionally. And even as each of those relationships fucking broke down and broke up and fell apart, in trying to recover from them emotionally, I channeled all my time and effort into Neopets because, again, I'm a loser. But, I don't know. Like, the day that that site goes down, I'm probably gonna cry like a little bitch just because it'll be the end of an era. But, especially with them bringing back all the games that had been in the game graveyard, and now they're, like, almost all, except for, like, one or two of them, are playable again. It really makes me wonder and worry, oh my god, is it on its last leg? Are they ready to, like, pull the trigger on this thing? I don't even know, because, I mean, think about it. When's the last time you knew anybody who, like, legit actually played Neopets? Like, for real. Not ironically, not for shits and giggles, like, actually played it. I bet you it's been years. Like, even I cannot claim to, like, regularly play it or anything, because I don't. It's, like, after months and months and months of not touching it, I might go through, like, at most a 2-week span of playing it again, like, progressively getting less and less and less with each day. Like, I'll go at it hard the first day and see how many games I can cram in on the first day. By the second day, already burning out. By the third day, it's usually enough to where I've already bailed on it, but yeah, because they never add anything genuinely new to it anymore. I think that's why it just feels stale and boring now, and why I can just barrel through all the things really quickly, and that's pretty much it now. I mean, I suppose if I felt the need to try and get all the items of a certain type, or like all the stamps, or all the trading cards, or all the Usuki dolls, or all the paintbrushes, or all the whatevers, I suppose I could make it interesting for myself that way, or try to, like, get all the gold trophies or something, which I think is physically impossible unless you did it all along, because I think there's certain ones you had to, like, get with, like, certain events that have long since passed that will not repeat again. So I guess it's impossible to do that, but I mean, as close as possible, I guess you could do, but I mean, unless I were to do that, unless they add to the website pretty hugely. I feel like it's stagnating ever since they sold the company off. It's like the current owners really don't do much of anything with it. And it shows, and it's sad. But what can you do, right? But it's always gonna have a special place in my heart for how much time I have wasted on that damn site. It would be impossible for me not to think fondly of it, just for how much time I've spent there. Did I make a bunch of friends on that website? Fuck no. There was like one back before they like would censor out email addresses that I used to keep contact with for a good number of years, and I don't know what ever happened to her, but there was a long time where I talked to this girl Essie, which, yeah, I know, there's the nail polish brand Essie now, but I mean, this was somebody literally named that. But, kept in contact with her for years. It was like this cool Australian chick who happened to be about my age and had similar interests. Just, I don't know. It was really cool. But, yeah, it's been many, 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 many years since I've talked to a single person on that website. I don't think anyone I have friended on there is even still an active player, and that's fine. I don't expect anyone to. I don't think anyone uses it for interacting purposes anymore at this point. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like probably no one does that, so that's just basically a defunct thing at this point. But, yeah, I mean, they censored it so hardcore to where you can't even, like, say a name, even if it's not your own name. You can't even say, like, a celebrity name without it censoring it, so that, and they censor anything that they think might be a swear or an offensive word. They censor anything they think could be a location. I realize why they do it, because it's a children's website. They cannot take a risk on anything like that. You can't link to any sort of website, you can't link to email addresses, you can't link to any sort of identifying info. So, I mean, it's, like, impossible to really interact much anything. Even like my youngest sister, just trying to talk to her on there with her in the other room just to test this out. It's impossible. Even like the most inane of bullshit. Yeah, you cannot do it. So I don't know. They kind of killed that feature when they added such hardcore censorship. So that kind of sucks. But oh my gosh, I'm getting sleepy. But yeah, I don't know. It's a weird thing where it's like, even though I don't actively play it, and I don't think much anybody really does, like, seriously, I mean, they might, for sentimentality's sake, do like I do and occasionally come back to it for like a few days and then burn out on it again and leave it again. I mean, other than that, I don't think anybody, like, legitimately plays it every single day. I mean, again, feel free to correct me if I am incorrect on that, but for the most part, I think most people kind of bailed, so I would understand if it shut down, but at the same time, it's such like an internet institution at this point. It's totally just a legend in its own right for how long it's been around and for how everybody knows of it, whether or not they actively play it. Generally, you know of it. I don't know, it'll be a sad day when it closes, and I hope it's no time soon, but you never know. I mean, Club Penguin, who thought we'd ever see the day that would close down? And then it did, so who even knows? I mean, I know there's other online pet simmer type games, and I have tested a couple of them out just for shits and giggles, but I mean, that's a lot to reinvest time into starting over from square one, so none of them ever really stuck. The only ones that I saw other people play on YouTube that I thought, that'd be a fun one to play, yeah, they were in beta and I couldn't even join, so I was like, oh, well, that sucks. Yeah, oh well. I'm kind of just rambling about nothing, so I'm gonna wrap this up, especially because I'm getting really tired and my eyes are getting redder and redder as I'm getting tireder and tireder, so yeah, I'm gonna go to bed, so as usual, if you like this video, go ahead and click the like button. If you're not already like to be, click subscribe, hit the bell icon so you never miss an upload. Leave comments down below if you like what I do here on this channel and you want to help support it. Donation links down in the description box. And until next time, bye!